Well, hello to you. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are listening from, wherever and whenever you decided that you're going to take a listen to the Rude Boy Sound and Tottenham USA. Welcome to the broadcast. Uh, if you notice above my head up there, the caption Love of Club. And today, mainly, that is what I want to talk about with a different twist. Has nothing to do with players, nothing to do with Daniel Levy, nothing to do with Ange Postecoglou, nothing to do with players, everything to do with us as fans. And so today, this morning, as it is, yes, I'm recording this on Saturday morning. I'm DJ Paul, by the way. If you don't notice by the caption, let me check these lights out. See if I turn this off. Give me a better. I kind of like that dark background. Let me lose myself in this background here, taking off some of that light off that green screen. Why am I telling you all of this? Why am I saying all of this? It is irrelevant but necessary. Otherwise, I will just be a boring guy talking to you about football. But today, it is not so much about the football that we have played or we have not played. And so, for people like myself, fans, let me not refer to us as just people because we are special in the realm or in the sphere in this iteration of Tottenham Hotspurs. And so my plea today is very simple. It is very simple. There needs to be no fanfare playing on words there, but fans being fair to what's happening in this moment. The look ahead to one game. And so when you look at it, there are so many things as a club that has been done wrong, right? There are so many things that we can look at as a group of fans and say, look, we understand that the chairman, the manager, and everybody that's involved are supposed to have the best interest of Tottenham Hotspur, right? We as the fan are looking into that big bowl and we see a lot of confusion, a lot of misdirection happening as far as our football club is concerned. And so, as a fan of almost 50 years, it's a long time to be a fan. You know, not seeing us winning the Premier League. You know, obviously won a few FA Cups. You know, eight in all, and we win the Europa, win the Cup Winners' Cup, and so we look at it and we say we win the Carabao Cup. So we have 17 legitimate trophies to look at and say, yes, we did something. As a fan base, I don't want us to get into this where we begin or we accept being a second class citizen in North London. And so for the fans, my appeal is to, for one day, even if it's one day. And I will go back to a few years ago when I don't want to invoke Arsenal. I know what Chelsea did to us when we were chasing down Leicester. That day is just riveted in my head, and so I happened to come across the video yesterday, and with my stomach churning I remember, Eden Hazard just destroyed us from, from the beginning, of the second half. And so those things resonate with me. Those things heat my guts out. And so when I get to a point like this, I don't want to make it worse in terms of how I treat the club when I think there is a lack of progress in this area, and therefore we have to accept where there's improvement, or maybe there's optimism to achieve something. And so I understand, and we keep using this term in the macro sense of where the club is, and this is where I'm going, is that we have been wronged many times by managers, by players, by owners, and the likes. But one thing that remains consistent is that we are there as fans. We are disgruntled, we are treated, by our chairman sometimes as though we are idiots. But the love of the club tells us that doesn't matter who is there, would it be Harry Kane, whether it be Garrett Bale, we all supersede them, because you know what, even though they might leave their mark, the people that has been constantly being there, or the set of the club that has been there is always the fans, and none of them could have achieved what they achieved without us, the fan. And so, yes, we have all the right to be disgruntled. We have all the right to not feel optimistic about anything. We have all the right to feel like we're up 2-1 or 3-1 in a semifinals, and we're beginning to feel like we can't do it, because that's the way we have been feeling for years, that we are going to stumble at the mark. 2008 is not enough for us to say, yes, we are going to do it with confidence. And I understand that. And why am I preaching, and why am I saying this? Because for one day, we as fans, right? I think I get off track of what I was going to say before, but I will get myself back over there. But let me complete this point. For one day, just one day, we should all feel like, if I don't get back to the point, if I don't get back to it, I apologize. But since this is the main theme of what I want to say, right? The main thing I want to say is that for one day, for the love of the club, for those who are older than I am, who have seen, right? And I think I'll go there first. Who have seen some glory, who can reminisce so much on the days when Tottenham was Tottenham, and we know that wherever we are, even though we have not of late, we have not won. But we have won in the past. And so, we tend to follow the internet. We tend to follow the banter. We tend to feel like there's always a Tottenham day, that every time that Arsenal finishes somewhere, we are behind Arsenal. And we need to be able to shed that feeling, right? A couple of years ago, when we were finishing above Arsenal until they rebuild. We have not done that. And that's on the club. That's on the chairman. That's on the coaches. I am not going to give the coaches a pass like many people do. You ask the support to get the support, and a lot of them did not manage to what they have. A lot of them wanted to manage the money rather than the player. A lot of the managers, especially the two in Jose and Conte, wanted to manage their CV versus what they had in front of them. So yes, we should feel aggrieved. In all of that, we should feel like we did not give them as a club the maximum support that they should. At the end of the day, as men and as professionals, they are going to make the decision that is best for them, whether they want to leave like Conte left with every penny that he wanted, or Josie was fired for. I have absolutely no reason to think that if there's a justification to fire the manager. One day, 1 week, we have a game, a derby to play on Sunday, which means absolutely nothing but bragging rights to what's going to happen in the at the end of the season. We are not going to get relegated, but we are going to be embarrassed because a club of our size, is not supposed to be finishing where we are going to finish in at the end of the season, and there are lots of blame to go around. I know where I start, and I know where I'll finish. And I will start at Levy like most people, and I will finish with Ange and back it up to the players and the backroom staff, in not doing and giving us what we needed, the tools that we needed when we need to. I have absolutely zero faith in any of the backroom staff. I kid you not. I have zero faith. But saying that, for the love of the club, right, I will put them to the side for the love of Tottenham Hotspurs, for the love of knowing that for 50 years, right, we have not celebrated. Well, I have not celebrated with any amount of enthusiasm. I have not looked forward to closing out a semi-finals. Yes, the Champions League, was great. I remember getting up from my desk with my iPad, and I have my Tottenham Hotspurs cap on. I bought it when I was in London, at the old shop across the street. I had visited the London in 2018, and I have some stuff around here that I got, and for prosperity. But the day that I'm talking about, I think I left work precisely. I was watching the game on my iPad. And so my boss knows that. My boss knows I'm a big time, European soccer enthusiast. And so I packed my stuff up, and I don't know what went into my bag, or if I had my laptop, if I have my phone. I don't know what I had on that day because I was so riveted to the screen. That's how I want to feel going into Thursday. That is how I want to feel, like I forget every single thing that I had to do on that day, and knowing that I had one thing in my hand that day. And I walk out the office onto the street, 34th Street, and the second goal, Mora scored that second goal, and I was beside myself. And if you know New York and you know 34th Street, which is just up from Madison Square Garden, that is where I was working before. And I let out this primal scream. I was embarrassed for me because everyone was looking at me. And I was like, okay, I don't give a flying fuck, right? All I had was my head into my iPad. And I keep walking on 8th Street. Yeah, so I head towards 8th, 7th is here, and I walk towards 8th, either 8th or 9th, one of them. I think it was more 8th. And I kept on going. And then when I was at 41st Street, because my bus is at 42nd Street, which is Grand, which is the Port Authority, taking the bus all the way back to Pennsylvania. And then Mora scored, and I lost it. And then, being so close to everyone, now the crowd was thicker in terms of the pedestrian on the street, and I lost it on that day. Just when Mora scored that hat trick. And so I want to have that euphoria, the euphoria again. I want to feel like nothing matters, even though I was among thousands of strangers. I was like one guy shouting Tottenham, 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 like a crazy man in New York on that day. I want to feel that way. I want the fans to feel that way going into Thursday. Everything put aside, everything that we have said, whether we are disgruntled because of how the team performed in the cups and in the Premier League, it doesn't matter. I do not care today. And just for the heck of it, I'm an Anjot guy. But for one day, for maybe for a week, building up into that, I cannot see anything that is negative or say anything that is negative about Tottenham Hotspurs. And you know why? Because if you continue to feel the way you're feeling, the victory will be hollow, right? We are here, and again, I don't like to invoke Arsenal, but Arsenal is down one. And Arsenal fans are talking about going to the finals. Arsenal fans are talking about whipping PSG's ass on their own turf. PSG advantage. That's the fans. Whether you want to call them lunatics, whether you want to call them idiots, it doesn't matter. Delusional, it does not matter what you want to call them, because they have one thing in mind, is to believe that Arsenal can beat PSG, right? And saying that, I'm going to brush that to the side because I'm using that because Tottenham Hotspurs fans always want to compare everything to Arsenal. Where is your belief if you are going to believe that Spurs up 2 is not the stepchild? Where is your belief that we're leading, and leading means that we are 1 foot closer to the finals? I don't get that from a lot of creators. I don't get that from the commentary. I don't get that from panels. I don't get that online from fans. I don't get that in general, that we feel like for a team that we are better than. We are better than Bodo Glimt. We are better than them. Period. Full stop. No argument. It is a matter of us turning up, showing up, do what we need to do with a 2-goal advantage and put that game to rest and go to the finals. Just for a day. We should be able to believe as Tottenham Hotspurs fans that fuck everyone else. Doesn't matter what have been said for the past 50 years. Doesn't matter what have been said about you. Doesn't matter what have been said about us. Is that we are ready as a fan to give Tottenham one day. Grunt it. Bear it. Be embarrassed for yourself. Right? Be jubilated when it happens, because it is going to happen with the support of all of us. Because for a day, we have to love the club more than how we love everything else, more than how we love to complain, more than how we want to see the manager, more than how we want to see Ange Postecoglou, how we want to see Levy, the chairman, the scouts, the players. We have to love the club, putting everyone to the side, that Tottenham is the most important thing in all of this which is happening, is that the club is supposed to be on that pedestal, and we are moving towards something that is special. We are 2 games away from doing something special. Does that mean that we have improved? No. But someone once said that once you get to the round of 16, it is a tournament that you need to be on the better side of 7 games. And so far, for those who don't believe, right, is that we have been on the better side of all the games that we have played. The idea is that in a knockout tournament, whether you're coming back from going down, is that the aggregate proves that you are still on track. And so, we take another step forward in being the better team, being on the better side of the first leg of the semifinals. And that is the most important thing. And we should feel that way. We should want to cheer and root, not for Ange, not for Levy, not for, the backroom staff, not for anybody, but for the club. And when you root for the club as a fan, nothing else matters. Yes, if we lose, if we bottle it, if we do that, the heartbreak will be there. But the joy of knowing that for one day we gave everything in us for Tottenham will be a good thing. It is a good thing that we feel that we're going into the game. Because you know what? Because of our history of coming up short, or history of being the almost club, so many times we have games that should shape our destiny in the league. We have games in the cups that will shape our destiny as a club, and we belly upon it. We shit the bed. This is not it. This is not the game for us to think about all of those things that happened to us in the past. It is not the game for us to wonder whether Ange is going to be tactical. This is not the game to wonder whether or not, or did Levy did what he was supposed to do, did the backroom staff did what they're supposed to do. This is not the game. This is a game where we put all else aside and we marched in unison as Tottenham HotSpurs fan. One day. All I'm asking, as a fan, I want to hear that resonate, that roar that resonates throughout, reverberate throughout the fan base, and then Thursday morning, Friday morning, or Friday afternoon, we can go back to being the divided fan base that we are. But for those 2 hours, even if it comes down to that, don't give me a day. Give me the length, the time, the event, the game, that nothing matters but the club. Nothing matters but Tottenham on that day. And that's my plea. That is my plea as a fan, that we do that we go out there and we set ourselves to make sure that all distractions aside, doesn't matter how we feel about all the things that happen leading into Thursday, is that we're going to lean in as a club, as one fan base, and lift our boys to this win. The advantage is with us, and we should not give that back. We should not let pundits and rival fans and all the bad history of Tottenham make us feel like we cannot do it. And that is exactly what is being perpetrated throughout the media. That is how, the sports centers want you to feel. That is how, Talk Sports want you to feel. That is how Sky Sports wants you to feel. Oh, Spurs are leading, but we want to say, fuck that. Today, collectively, in one voice, in one unison, we are going to say, glory, 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 Tottenham HotSpurs. Come on, you Spurs. I'm the rude boy, DJ Paul, passionately pleading to let us walk good together, be good together until Thursday, when the crescendo of a victory will put the smiles back on our faces collectively. Peace, and I am out of here.